Hello,
Hello.
everyone. It is Marcia and Michelle, and we are back for another Show Me Mysteries.
Yes.
I want to thank you all for tuning in on a Wednesday evening after a holiday weekend, mind you. Um, we appreciate it. We know that, you could be doing some other stuff, even though it's the middle of the week, you could still be doing some other stuff.
Some of you are probably still on vacation.
Yeah, some of you, if you took a few days, but for those of you that are logging on the replay, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Tonight, we're going to do something just a little bit different. We are going to talk about some things that are in the news, some paranormal items in the news. Ooh, that's probably what I should have titled it. Paranormal items in the news. We, like I said, we typically don't talk about, you know, items in the news, but these are pretty big items in the news. So I thought we would just kind of address them, give you our thoughts on them. If you will, if you have friends, family, coworkers, people you really don't like that you think might be interested in what we're talking about tonight, please share us out. We appreciate it. Our prayers go out this evening to the families in Georgia that were impacted by the school shooting this morning. Um, I don't have the latest numbers. I know that there are several deceased and quite a few that are injured. So please know that our prayers go out to all of those families this difficult time. We also want to say a special prayer. We lost a law enforcement officer over this weekend, Saturday night actually, in Osage Beach, which isn't too far from where we are. Um, she was killed in a high speed chase. Her funeral is tomorrow. So our prayers do go out to her and her family because we always thank our men and women in blue, our military folks as well. Without them, we couldn't do what we do. And as I understand it, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but she was a young officer in her early 30s and she left behind 6 children. So
Yes.
that is really, really a tragedy there. So, anyway, our prayers go out to her family as well. And as I said, thank you to the military. We know the sacrifice that you all make every day as well. There is a small flying bug in here.
It's probably a
So I'm
gnat.
going to be, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to be like batting it around all night. Um, if you've logged on, if you want to say hello to us in the chat, that would be fabulous. Hey, Bev, I see you. I see you. I didn't have the chat open originally, so now we see you. Hey, Linda, glad that you all could hang out with us on a Wednesday night. I want to share with you something, and Linda, you can appreciate this, Linda. I'm
Oh, hey,
sure.
Christy.
Hey, Christy, I know that Linda can appreciate this. So I got to tell you my debacle with my hard drive before we get into anything else. Um, I have these hard drives, right there. I need to put it over there. 4 terabytes. I have every ghost hunt, every investigation I've ever gone on this here handy dandy little flash drive or a hard drive. I plugged it in the other day and it was corrupted. I couldn't get a thing off of it, not one thing. So I panicked for about 2 hours. And then I Googled it. And I'm here to tell you, folks, that I managed to retrieve on my own without IT, I managed to recover everything except for one investigation. And I can't remember which one it is. I want to say it's one of the Randolph County ones. But I was able to retrieve 47 years of hunts. going
And
all the way back.
and how long did it take you to get all that debt back?
17 hours. 17 hours. But I'll tell you, but I will tell you, I have them on a hard drive because well, first of all, my computer doesn't have enough space to hold it because I've got about 2.5 terabytes of information. So my hard drive, my computer hard drive can't handle that. But I put it on an external drive because I wanted to protect it. It never occurred to me that I needed to have a backup of that. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a backup of the backup. Another 17 hours to copy everything over, but that's okay. That's
Lesson
okay.
learned.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned. Because I'll tell you what, for those 2 hours, my heart was just broken. I mean, it was broken. It had every single investigation I've ever been on. Everything. All the pictures, all the audio, all the video, all of it's on there. And it's like, oh my God, I have lost all of this. But no. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, call me. I can tell you how to do it.
Or Google it.
Well, or you can Google it. You can Google it. However, it took me several hours to figure out by Googling it what was going to work.
Oh,
I could save you time. So if you need to know how to recover stuff off of a corrupted external drive, I'm assuming it would, well, I started to say I'm assuming it would work with an internal drive, but if your internal drive is corrupted, your machine's not working. So screw that. But I can help you with an external. I can help you with an external. So anyway, I did just want to share that with all of you. So if you will, let us know in the comments that you're with us, and we will say hello to you. All right, our last hunt of the season before we get into the paranormal news. Our last hunt of the season was early in August 10th-ish, I believe. We went to the Boyd House in Minnesota, the first time we've ever investigated in Minnesota. I'm still looking at the video. Melissa's still looking at listening to the audio. It was a really, really, really good time. We had a great time. Dawn, Christy, and Kristen went with me. Boyd is a really tiny town. There's 169 people in the town. They were all over at the park that afternoon, having a grand old time. I forget the name of the festival. Christy, I see you're on. If you remember what they called it, put it in the chat. But anyway, it started out as a fundraiser for one of the ladies there in town. Her daughter was killed in a really freak accident about 10 or 12 years ago. And they originally did it at the first year as a fundraiser to help her pay for funeral expenses and whatever. And it was such a success that they continued to do it year after year. Is it called? Yeah, and it's Caitlin, not Kristen. Christy, Caitlin, and Dawn. That's what I meant to say. I don't know what I said, but that's what I meant to say. I think, is it the mediocre days or something like that? Anyway, it's got an odd name. But anyway, they had a good time. And they had a street concert like a half a block away from the Boyd House. Music was fabulous. I think we caught Christy dancing on camera a couple of times. You could hear it perfectly in the house. So I don't think we caught any spirits, but we had a grand old time. So anyway, that's our last investigation of 2024 season. We are working on the 2025 schedule. So we'll let you know when that's all squared away. All right, to the meat of it all, folks, to the meat of it all. Paranormal news. So
I feel like there needs to be like some that dee in the background for you.
Do a teletype. Okay.
There you go.
So this first thing that I want to talk about, y'all know that those of you that know us know we don't do drama, right? Drama's not what we do. We don't want to be part of it. We don't want to know about it. Do your thing. We'll do our thing. But we have to talk. But we have to talk about the Conjuring House and all of the drama going on around the Conjuring House.
Yeah, this was all news to me. I didn't realize all this was going on.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share it. You can give me your thoughts in the comments. Michelle's going to give me her thoughts here in just a minute. I don't know for sure all of the details, but I can tell you what I know and what I strongly suspect. So apparently 2 years ago, this woman, whose name I can't remember, but that's
Jack,
okay.
the owner?
I'm sorry?
The owner?
Yeah.
Ms. Nunez?
Okay. Jacqueline, I think is her name.
Yep,
Yeah.
Jacqueline Nunez.
So I guess a couple of years ago, she bought the house from a couple that had owned it for quite some time. They did allow paranormal investigations. They had quite a thriving business going, from what I understand. They had a lot of long-term employees, folks that gave tours in the house, that helped with like the overnight investigations. Because, when we go on these overnight investigations, almost always somebody connected to the house is either in the house with us or pretty close nearby, right? They don't usually just hand us over the keys and leave, with the exception of the folks that own Randolph County. They hand us the keys and they leave.
Yeah.
To all of their places. They just hand it over and they go. So anyway, she bought the property, and from what I understand, she was not very pleasant to either the staff or the folks that reserved the house in order to investigate it. And in March, I believe there was a mass exodus of staff from the house. They had tried to deal with her. They had tried to talk to her. They had tried to keep the place running like the old owners had it running. But I guess she was just so difficult to deal with that they just washed their hands of it. One of those people was the daughter of Jason Hawes, the founder of TAPS. The other thing that happened shortly after that, the caretaker was owed, she had not paid the caretaker apparently $9,000 in back wages.
Well, that could be a reason to leave as well.
Yeah.
She's not paying them.
Yeah. Well, but he was willing to stay on because, everybody, all of these people that were longtime employees, they love the house. They
were invested. Yeah.
Yeah. They were invested in it. And so from what I understand, he was owed quite a bit of back pay, but she fired him because she says that the original owner of the house that died in the 1700s told her he was stealing. So, of course, then he's like, we've got cameras everywhere. Check the video. Show me where I'm stealing. Then, apparently, she used the Conjuring House Facebook page to write all of these vile, threatening posts about all of these people. And, okay, before I get there, so she was posting all of this stuff. She also apparently was taking money from teams or individuals that wanted to rent the house for the night, and she wasn't letting them in.
Yeah,
they would pay, which is what we have to do, right? When we go somewhere where there's a charge, and most of them do charge us because that's how they maintain the building, right?
Right.
We have to pay that up front. We don't pay it when we get there. So I guess that's what was happening. These people were reserving it for an investigation. They were showing up, and she either wasn't there or wasn't letting them in. So one gentleman stayed waiting for her until 2:00 in the morning and then decided to leave. Well, she has cameras, and she caught his truck on video pulling out at 2:00 in the morning. She accused Jason Hawes of being in that truck, driving that truck, and coming there to assassinate her. So the fella, I know the fella that was actually in the truck, because she made this post, she showed the video. She's like, you can clearly see Jason in this truck, and he, is here to assassinate me. And it was just vile and mean. And so the guy comes forward and says, no, that's not Jason Hawes. That's me. I was there waiting for you who never let me in. But even despite all of that, she maintained that Jason Hawes was trying to assassinate her. Now, he is the one that actually brought this all out into the public. And so I was kind of on the fence about him, what I thought about him making this public. Because part of me is like, you know what? That's your all's drama. That's your all's chaos. The rest of us don't have to be involved. But I think his reasoning for doing that was because he sincerely felt she was a threat to the people that visited the house.
Yeah, I could see that, because if we had rented that place out, showed up as far as we travel sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and she wasn't refunding that.
No, she wasn't. I'm sure she wasn't.
And that would leave things a little sour.
Yep. So anyway, what I know now is that Facebook has removed her page. The Conjuring House Facebook page is gone.
Christy, so that goes with what you said.
What did I miss? Did I miss something?
Oh, she just made a comment about how their Facebook page had been removed.
Yep, their Facebook page has been removed. And I understand that the house is now up for sale again. So in my mind, I read the post. I went out because it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, Jason. I hear what you're saying, but let me check it for myself. So I did go out there and I saw the posts, and they were mean, they were vile, they were threatening. And she was also texting him at all hours of the day and night with very the language in the post was horrible. It was just horrible. He didn't read the posts during the video, but he showed them. And I think he didn't read them because the language was so bad, Facebook would have tagged it in a minute. But he showed it. And anyway, she was texting him at all hours of the day or night. So he blocked her. And then she found out how to contact his children. And she was sending mean tweets and emails and stuff to his children. So I don't know. To me, I'm no expert in mental health issues, but there is something wrong with that woman. There's something wrong with that woman. And I'm almost convinced that Jason did the right thing. So what do you all think? I mean, I kind of understand his reasoning, because he had dealings with her, personal dealings, because his daughter worked for her. So he probably knew her better, but I don't know. I mean, if it were us, I would want somebody to tell us before we spent, $1,000 to rent this place, to show up. Nobody's there. We don't get our money back. We don't investigate. So I think I would want people to tell me.
Well, especially if it's the potential of, she just spoke harshly and violently, and who's to say that anybody there, it wouldn't have turned physical violence? I mean, you don't know.
You don't,
especially if she thinks somebody's out to kill her or assassinate her, excuse me.
Well, and she was threatening violence against them.
Gotcha.
Now, she never did anything to him.
Right.
But she was threatening it. And Bev, as far as pressing charges, I believe he did. I think he pressed charge. Well, I know he went to the police about it. And I believe there is a lawsuit now against her filed by him. Um, yeah, and Christy's saying he felt he had to combat her slander. Yeah, although, well, I'm going to say yes, but if you watch him, if you know him, you know that's not him, right?
But in this day and age, with the way people are in general, they'll
Yeah,
take one little thing and blow it way out of proportion.
yeah,
And everything that he has done, talked about, can all come crumbling down for false
yeah.
sayings.
And I think he was trying to protect his daughter
Yeah.
because she said some awfully mean, vile things about his daughter. And I know if it were my kids, yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's the drama on the Conjuring House. Um, I probably will never do another update on it. I might, but right now it looks like the place is up for sale.
Well, maybe when it sells.
Well, and I heard that two fellows were partnering to buy it. One is a paranormal investigator and another is a comedian. So that's
Oh,
going to make so
wow.
that's going to be interesting.
Why do I think of Disney's Haunted House?
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows? I think it's a great piece of history, though, because I think it's the oldest. Isn't it the oldest structure still in Rhode Island?
I believe so because it's 17. It was built in 17.
Y-
Oh, something
Yeah,
39.
it's like 350 years old. It's so the history alone is worth, the 1.2 million dollars they're asking for it.
And actually, if that's all they're asking for in that neck of the woods, that's really not bad.
Well, except that you have to deal with a crazy woman to get the sale through.
Well, maybe some of her people can do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. If anybody out there, wants to just write me a check, I'll take care of it for you. Okay. So that's the Conjuring House. That's that paranormal news. Now, our next piece. Um, so now this is a completely different issue. This is the Sam and Colby drama.
How many of you out there are familiar with Sam and Colby?
Yeah, because I had no idea who they were until this surfaced, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Not
All
that
right.
we're like promoting them or anything, just asking in general.
Yeah. Are you aware? Because I wasn't. But apparently they have 12 million followers. They're young men. They're two young men. I'd say, I don't know how old they are. I'd say mid 20s, if they're even that old. Hey, Kayla, glad that you could join us. Hope everything is calm and peaceful in Detroit. Yeah, I had never heard of them, but I don't watch the type of paranormal investigating that they do, right?
I love the air quotes. I love
Well,
that. I
yeah,
understand.
yeah,
Yes.
you know where I'm going. So supposedly they're paranormal investigators and kind of like Zach, it's all this reaction and everything's a demon and blah, blah, blah. So I want to show you all a video. And, I was kind of on the fence about showing you all this video because it's a little bit long. It's about 1 minute, 30 seconds. But I want to show you this video to
Is there any
show
type
you.
of warning or
Oh yeah.
anything like? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give a warning here just in a second.
Okay. Sorry.
But that's okay. But I wanted to show you the video because I wanted you to know that this really happened. It's not something that somebody's making up. They really did these things, right? And they were caught on videotape doing these things. Now, they did make a sexually explicit comment. So if that triggers you or you are offended by that, please mute yourself, mute your computer for about the next 30 seconds. And like I said, I hesitate to play a video that long, but I want you to see it and then we'll talk about it here on the other side. So let me attempt to share the screen. The audio should be okay. We did test it. Michelle and I tested it, but you might have to turn your volume up just a little bit to hear it because the audio is coming off of a security camera, which is notorious for bad audio to start with. So yeah, let me see if I can get this pulled up. Just give me 1 second.
It's like the Jeopardy theme is playing now, but I don't think that's right.
No. Okay. All right. So there's the screen. I'm going to go ahead and play this video. Like I said, it's a minute 44.
I'm going to do a small recap on each clip because it's not the best audio quality. Sam asks, how are we going to outro this?
Alright, how are we going to outro this?
So he's pretty much asking how they're going to wrap up the whole video. Seth responds with, we're going to call Kristen back and she's going to blow all three of us.
We're going to call Kristen back here, she's going to blow all three of us, and then we're going to leave.
Kristen is the owner of the Bellaire house. I also think it's noteworthy Colby's response to Seth's inappropriate comment.
Yes, yes, yes.
Second clip needs a little explaining. Colby is sat on the sofa and next to him is a Boo Buddy teddy bear. This is not a toy. They are paranormal tools to help detect ghosts. They're actually surprisingly expensive. Anyway, my source told me this Boo Buddy teddy bear was property of the Bellaire house, and they kindly allowed the boys to use this bear as part of their investigation. But it seems to talk a little too much, and this gets on the nerves of the ghost hunters, which tells me they mustn't think it's a ghost touching it. They seem more annoyed that they can't shut it up. Funny enough, when the cameras are rolling for their YouTube video, every time the bear makes a noise, they jump up and down thinking it's a ghost or a demon. The knife you see Seth pick up is a display in the front room, and I would assume is not to be toyed with. He then uses the knife to stab the bear. From the angle of the camera, we don't know if Seth is mimicking this as a joke or is actually stabbing the bear with the knife. I'm not sure if Colby's reaction is in jest or actual shock. Next clip. As the three of them are filming, the Boo Bear keeps going off and disrupting their scene. Colby pretty much roundhouse kicks this expensive bear and breaks a piece off, and he holds it up to the camera. Then they all just seem to scream and laugh that Colby broke somebody else's property. I'm going to do a small recap on each clip because it's not the best audio quality.
Hold on.
Sam asks, how are we going to outro this?
Alright, how are we going to outro this?
So it's pretty much
Oh,
asking how they're going
hold
to wrap
on.
up the whole video. Seth responds with,
Hold
"We're
on.
going to call Kristen back and she's going to blow all three of us."
Well, he stopped earlier.
Back here.
Hold on.
Kristen is the owner of the Bellaire house.
Well,
I
for
also
God's
think it's
sakes.
noteworthy Colby's response to Seth's
Okay. Whew.
Oh my gosh. So glad you got that IT background now. How
Okay.
absolutely disrespectful.
So I want to give a shout out to the side eye guy. That was the video. That's his channel, right? And he never shows his face. He always shows that character. So anyway, his whole channel is reaction to paranormal channels, right? Or paranormal videos. And he does a lot on the Zach Bagans thing. So anyway, this really bothers me because first of all, they've got 12 million followers, which doesn't bother me. But for young people to watch their videos and think that's okay,
That behavior is okay. is
that
not
that
acceptable.
behavior is okay, and that's how you treat somebody else's property, that really bothers me. And I don't know if it's an age thing because, I'm old enough to be their grandmother, but anyway, that is the newest drama going on in the paranormal world. Now, that incident occurred 2 years ago, and it was not made public. The owner didn't make it public. She simply told the people in her paranormal community what had happened, and they will not allow these boys to investigate any of those places, right? So they've been banned out of some places. And it is the Bellaire house, Bev, which me and you and Leslie stopped at on our way to Trans-Allegheny. I don't know if you remember that or not, but we actually had stopped at the Bellaire house when it first opened for paranormal investigations. And that's been 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. So anyway, this happened 2 years ago. The side-eye guy, somebody gave him the video. I don't know if it was the owner. I don't know who it was, but somebody gave him the video and he's made it public. Now, he has also talked to the owner. He's had her on. So if you get an opportunity to check his channel out, go check it out. You'll find her interview there too. But Sam and Colby, when this surfaced a week or so ago, put out a post that said, yeah, this was inappropriate. We shouldn't have done it. We apologized to her. We paid for the damage we did, and it's all water under the bridge. Well, that's not exactly true. She called the police on them the next day, right? So the police were called. Their producer actually paid for the damage that they did. And she is still very offended by it, and I don't blame her.
No.
So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Folks in the chat, give me your thought. Michelle just posted something.
Sorry, it didn't quite do what I had hoped it would, but that's actually the link to the Side-Eye Guys page, YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. That says Google. I don't know what it did. Hold, please. Try that again.
Yeah, but the Side-Eye Guy, he does these reaction videos to these paranormal videos that are put out. He has not done one on us yet, thankfully, because hard telling what he'd say about us. But he's really quite humorous. So if you get an opportunity, check him out.
And the 12 million viewers, wasn't there a period of time here not too long ago that, those numbers were getting inflated or something like that? Let's see if this works better.
Well, and you can buy subs, right? You can buy subs. And like I said, this took place 2 years ago. They're catching heat about it now because it's been made public. They knew those cameras were there. So that makes you wonder, what do they do when there are no cameras?
Yeah.
Because we go to lots of places where there are cameras. You can see them. They're not hidden. It's not like people are spying on you. If you have an IR camera like we do, you can spot their IR in a minute because it bounces off of it, right? So.
Well, interesting you say that, Bev, about being banned.
Yeah, they will never go back to the Bellaire house. She has made that clear. And the other haunted locations near her have also banned them. So, like I said, I think there's going to be more fallout because this just was made public. I think there's going to be more fallout from it.
So do you think then that maybe owners will start doing a little bit more research on people that want to rent their houses or their locations?
I don't know, because a lot of them have cameras. And how many times have we gone somewhere where the owners told us horror stories about people being in their place?
Yeah.
About stuff being stolen and, things happening in their house. I mean, we hear it all the time.
Yeah.
So, and I wonder if it's just because of kids, and I'm going to call them kids like this, that do these things. They got 12 million followers. Those people are thinking this is funny, not realizing this is that woman's property. This is her home, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Well, there goes that accountability and consequences. Oh, Did I say that?
Well, and I can tell you too that there have been places we have gone where I know they've checked us out because they've asked for information from me. Gotcha. And it's like, okay, you're not letting just anybody come in.
Which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, but that's places like the Bell Mansion, right? You're talking about a historic location that has all this original museum quality stuff in it.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not going to just let anybody in it. And then like when we went to Alva, those people stayed there with us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like, we're not turning you loose in our place. We're going to sit right here and watch what you're doing. So, and that happens a lot.
Right. And they had their own cameras.
Yeah.
And,
So anyway, okay. The final piece of news that I wanted to talk about tonight was the new film that's coming out with Glenn Close called The Deliverance. It's a Netflix series, and I don't get Netflix, but Michelle and I are going to have a date one of these days because she has it, and I'm going to watch it. We're going to binge watch it after it's all over with. So I don't know if you all have heard of this movie. I mean, or this series. It is just brand new, but Glenn Close plays the grandmother in the story, and the story is about the November 11th haunting in Gary, Indiana. The mother, her 3 kids, and her mother, which is played by Glenn Close, lived in the house that Zach Bagans bought and torn down. So, well, before I go further, let me take a look at the comments. Yeah, Kayla, there was an issue there at Waverly. And, we run into those kids all the time. We run into them all the time. But yeah, this movie, The Deliverance, is about that story. It's LaToya Ammons. That's the woman's name, the actual woman's name. And she had moved into this house in Gary in November of 2011. They didn't live there very long. But, and I want to refer to my notes and get it right here. They heard footsteps on the basement stairs. They saw a shadowy man in the living room. She saw wet boot prints on the floor. This is where the kids started to levitate. And one of the children, I think it was the either 9 or 11-year-old son, walked backwards up the wall while holding the grandmother's hand. And when I first heard the story, several years ago, I'm like, yeah, okay. But there are too many credible witnesses to this that really, really gives me pause. It really gives me pause. The family doctor saw this. The social service worker saw this. The police saw it. I mean, we're not talking about Joe Blow on the street here. We're talking about professionals who came to the house or treated the children, and they saw this boy do that. And they also witnessed the children talking in what they called demonic voices. Now, there were 3.
This is the one they called the Demon House, right?
Zach called it the Demon House.
Yeah.
She had called in, LaToya had called in several churches to bless the house, and they did come and bless it, but it didn't do any good. So eventually, and it didn't take very long, I mean, we're talking just a couple of months here. Eventually, social services removed the children and put them in state custody. And they had her undergo psychiatric evaluation, and she was found to be of sound mind, right? Her and her mother both. So they weren't crazy, right? They were both of sound mind. But it got so bad with the children in state custody that they actually had to have the son exorcised, right? They had to call in a priest that performed an actual exorcism on this kid. So she regained custody of her children in November of 2012. And they moved, after she moved to a new house, the state let her have the kids back. And they haven't had a bit of trouble since. Then Zach Bagan buys the house, does this big, does what he does, and tears it down. So What do you all think about that story? Okay, so Caitlin has seen the trailer. Yeah, it's connect. That's the story. Now, I will tell you that the producer made some changes, and he came forward and said he made the changes. First of all, the family was completely black, but they have made the grandmother, obviously Glenn Close, is white, so now it's a blended family. And then they did something else to make it more equitable. I think instead of 2 boys and a girl, it's 2 girls and a boy or something. Anyway, they've changed it just a little bit. But supposedly the essence of the series is that story. That's why I want to see it, because it sounds like it's interesting to me. All right, Kayla, what are you saying here? Yeah, I don't know. You could be right about that. You know, that the family didn't want to talk because they got a book deal or a movie deal. Yeah, but you know, Dawn, the bones under the stairs, you know, Zach doesn't always play by the rules. So I would think if there were bones under the stairs, the mother would have found them, because one of the things that she did was put an altar in the basement, because that's what the church told her to do, where she would burn candles and cover things in white and all of that kind of stuff. So I would think if there were bones in the basement, she probably would have found them. I mean, if there were bones in my basement, I probably would find them, I would think. Don't you think? I mean, yeah. Not that Zach would ever do anything, you know.
Questionable.
Yeah.
But see, I think didn't we cover this in Ghostly Gab probably a couple of years ago? Because we were talking about this, and have they built anything on top of it?
No.
Because, you know, as we know, stuff could still be there just because the building's gone.
Yes.
Spirit could still be there, but if there's nothing built on top of it, who would know?
Well, there's nothing on it now. And I would suspect that if anything is ever put on it, because if you've ever seen it, it's a real tiny lot.
Yeah.
You know, in Gary, Indiana. So the only thing they could really put there is another house, maybe. I don't know how it's zoned. They could put a little business, but it wouldn't be a big building. But I would think that if they put anything there, the neighbors would surely tell what happened. And like I said, I know these things happen. I mean, I know there's more out there than us.
Oh, absolutely.
But what makes it so credible in my mind is the witnesses.
The witnesses.
Right? It's not just mom and grandma saying this happened. It's people that actually saw it. They actually took the kids into state custody and had to call in a priest to do an exorcism. And you know, Catholic priests don't just do exorcisms because you call them in, right? So they must have thought something was happening with this one child. And why
it all stopped when they moved?
Well, why this family and not the families that came before? You know, because obviously it was something in the house or on the land.
Mm-hmm.
But why these guys and not other people? Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, you know, there were children. Maybe there was some drama in her life that made her more susceptible to, you know, her defenses were down. It's hard to say. It's hard to
sure.
Say. As far as Zach still owning the land, I'm not sure, Kayla. You're probably right that he still owns the land, but he only paid like $38,000 for it. You know, so he'll probably turn around and sell it for $1 million. Okay, so the another family said they heard things. Yeah.
And I don't know that we know the information if prior families had children.
No, I have no idea. But anyway, that is the paranormal items in the news that I thought we needed to talk about. Like I said, it's something just a little bit different, something we don't normally do. The Conjuring is more drama, the Conjuring House thing, and we don't do drama. But I thought it was worth mentioning, just because there's so much information about it out there. So I wanted to tell you kind of what I knew, what I found out. The show is called The Deliverance, and it's on Netflix, starring Glenn Close. She's the grandma. Okay, anything else we need to say about that, Michelle? Those items?
I don't think so. I think that's everything. There, I went ahead and I think I got it right.
Yeah, The Deliverance on Netflix. Very good. Okay, so before I get myself in trouble, let me do our social media here. Oops.
Just kidding.
Yeah, so you all know where to find us, besides where you found us tonight. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Odyssey, MeWe, Rumble. Now, I want to tell you too, for those of you who don't know and probably don't care, I also do little videos about unsolved murders. So if that's kind of up your alley, and they're not, a couple of them are like famous, but I typically do those stories that people have forgotten about, because those are the stories that need to be told. So if you're interested in unsolved murders, I do have a new channel where I post those called Midwest Murders. You can search for it on YouTube. As a channel, you'll see my little face pop up. I'm the avatar. Or you can go to our Midwest Ghost Hunters page, scroll down, there's a link to it under my favorite channels. So yeah, I just put some crazy unsolved murders out there. We're getting ready to go to Texas. Becky and I were leaving Saturday. We're going to do 2 weeks, crisscrossing the beautiful state of Texas, visiting some haunted locations, staying in some haunted hotels. We'll be checking in on Facebook and MeWe as we go through that journey. We're not going to do, well, I shouldn't say we're not going to do any actual hunting, because we will. But for the most part, we're visiting so-called haunted locations to kind of check them out, talk to the locals, see what the story really is. So like I said, I'm leaving Saturday. She's flying into Dallas, and we'll be swinging through the state for 2 full weeks. And I'm sure they're going to see the hottest weather they have ever seen, because we will be in Texas. Okay. Anything I'm missing, my friend?
I think that is everything that we talked about ahead of time. I'm trying to find the link to put in the chat for Midwest Murders. And of course, it's bringing up TV shows. That's not helpful.
No. If you go to YouTube / @Midwest Murders, I should come up.
YouTube. Oops.
/YouTube.com / @Midwest Murders.
We'll figure this out all together. The @Midwest Murders.
Do you see my smiling face?
Looky there.
I'm just
You're
saying.
not smiling. I'm just saying.
Well, but I could be. But anyway, that's how you get to it. Just go to, it's youtube.com / @Midwest Murders.
There you go.
Yep. If you're into that. If you're not into that, that's perfectly all right too. So yeah, we will we'll wrap it up for this evening. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. We know there's so much you could be doing. We appreciate your loyalty, your support. We have a good time. So yeah, I guess that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So until next time, just